just out here thinking about some things. Like, I was talking about this in one of my other videos when I went into the cave, and how reality shifts to like where you are right then. That's what's important. And that's the feeling I'm getting out here is this is what's important. What you see out here. You know, I'm just here with the tent and the dogs and the truck. We got a little bit of gear, a little bit of food. Normally with the RV, or if I pack enough stuff, I can be out here for as long as I want. And, you know, following the rules of the area, usually it's about 2 weeks maximum you can stay. And then we move on to another place and we stay there for a few days or a week or 2 weeks. But right now I'm feeling that even more. Like, we don't have a lot of stuff, so we're super mobile. We don't have the trailer. We just have the truck. So I can go anywhere out here. And there's nobody out here right now. But you just look out there and it's just so vast. It's so green and there's so many little places to go and to explore. And you're self-sustaining yourself. What's really important is where you are right now and the stuff that you have. The gear that you have, the food, all the supplies that you have. You know, I used to live in Seattle a few years ago, and then we left Seattle and we came right up here to the mountains. And then we got the trailer and we started nomad lifestyle. And it's freaking amazing. In Seattle, you know, I was just thinking, like, society, you know, like a city like that, big city. And I lived there for many years, 20 years, something like that. And Seattle's a really cool city. But things, you know, a certain number of years ago, a few years ago, they really started to shift. And the way people would talk about things, and I was realizing like people were really emotionally invested in certain sorts of ideas that were coming to be. And I didn't find myself necessarily like agreeing with those ideas for the most part, or, you know, to the same degree that a lot of people were. And so I started questioning people. I started questioning, just asking questions. And just like being out here, it's like, you're free out here. You can ask whatever questions you want. You can have whatever ideas you want. But if we start talking about the things in the city that people were talking about, they mean nothing out here. It means nothing. You're talking about, I mean, I don't really want to get into it. Like, that's not what this channel is about. Like, you know, politics and culture and ideas, religion, you know, war, peace, all that kind of stuff. It's not what this channel is about. But what it is about freedom and being free to have your own thoughts and being free to ask questions and being free to communicate and being free, like we're free out here. We can do whatever we want out here and we don't disturb anybody. Nobody disturbs us. But I was just thinking, like, you know, if I'm going to be part of a society like that, like I was in the city and it was great and got along with people, and a lot of people kind of espouse the same ideas, the same ideals, values, generally, right? Like everybody integrated really well. But then it became to this point where I felt like, you know, if I'm going to be part of the society, I have to feel like I can ask questions. And when I ask questions, they kind of went against what people were talking about and saying. But I'm just asking questions, right? I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to, you know, better myself, better my ideas, and also challenge other people's ideas. And they're free to challenge mine. But what would happen was they would shut down because they were so invested emotionally. And that's what I'm realizing out here is It's okay to have ideas and values and things like that, but when you become emotionally invested in them, when it becomes who you are, then if those things get questioned, or you run into people who maybe disagree or have a different value system or different ideas and they want to discuss them, they want to question them, then that starts to feel I, scary, I guess, like because they're so emotionally invested. Whereas like I have ideas and stances and positions and certain types of knowledge and certain types of ignorance, but I'm not emotionally invested in those. Like I'm willing to have discussions and debates, and I'm willing to disagree with people and respect people for having different ideas and learn. But what was happening in society, and I think a lot of you can relate to this, that people don't want to be questioned. People don't want to have to back up their ideas. And it's one thing if it's just a simple idea, like you like this kind of movie or that kind of music, or you want to go to this restaurant or that restaurant, and you have disagreements about simple things like that. And even like politics and things like that, people have disagreements about that stuff all the time. But when it becomes this point of like where it felt unsafe, like just because I might have a different idea, or even I don't have a different idea, I just have a question about it, those people were getting angry is the best way to explain it. And I was like, wow, there is a huge change. These people are really emotionally invested in certain ways of thinking all of a sudden. And if I have a question, because I'm just trying to learn, I'm just trying to grow, if a question causes this angst coming back at me, then I'm out of there. That's why I'm here. I mean, that's one of the main reasons I'm out here. Because out here, that stuff doesn't matter. And it would be really hard to have those values and those ideas if you're living out here and be emotionally invested in those, because they don't mean anything out here. They mean so little out here. You might still hold things like, your family, like I got the dogs, or your religion or something like that close to you. But these ideas we get from the media, that we get from the internet, they're not your own ideas. They're being fed to you, and then you're sort of adapting them and latching onto them. But think about how they actually affect you. If they're not really affecting you, then why are you emotionally invested in those thoughts and those ideas? It's okay to like hear what other people think. It's actually, I mean, that's what you should be doing, is listening to what other people think and getting ideas from all sorts of different places. But don't adopt other people's ideas. And definitely don't become emotionally invested in those ideas if they're not really part of your life, if they're not really affecting your day to day. You come out here and you start talking about like politics, or all the stuff you see in the news, or on some of the YouTube channels that are talking about like opinions and like real harsh judgments and calling people names and like voting and things like that. You're out of place here. This Because those things don't matter. You're free to have discussions like that. You should feel absolutely free to have whatever thoughts you want out here in a place like this, because this is like absolute freedom out here, right? You should definitely be free to express yourself however you want. But what you realize, what I realize, and what you would realize is that those things don't really affect your life. And when you're in the city, you start to feel like they do. But if you really think about it, you're probably emotionally invested in ideas that you're basically wasting your time on. You shouldn't be so emotionally invested. But out here, it's like you get an open mind. And those things that you see on the the talk radio shows and the news media, it's laughable. It's just laughable. If there was a TV right here, imagine that right now, a TV, like on any news station, I don't care, whatever news station you agree with or disagree with or you watch or don't watch, if there was any news station right here playing any kind of news at all, it's just a joke. You couldn't even watch it because there's all this stuff out here. There's animals, there's things to worry about out here. You know, the news out here is like, oh, where's the latest bear track that you saw? Where is the herd of elk? Where are the birds that you want to watch? Where are they located? Where are the plants and the flowers that you can harvest at? What time of day is it? What's the weather like at this moment? What do these clouds mean that are coming in? Is there going to be a storm? Is it going to be sunny? Is it going to be hot or cold? Is it going to rain? That's what matters out here. That's the real news out here. If you had a news station playing out here, it would just be like you would recognize the brainwashing that goes on. You could be out here in a place like this for a week or two, and this becomes what matters. This is what matters. Okay, let's walk. These poor dogs, actually they're doing really good, but I just want to keep hiking. We find a cool place like this, and this is an easy road to hike, but I just want to keep going because the weather is so nice right now. It's cloudy, it almost feels like it's gonna rain, which would suck because I don't have my rain jacket in my pack, which I should, but supposedly the weather report today is just cloudy, no rain. And if that's the case, then this weather is perfect for hiking. But around every corner or up every little peak in the road, you just kind of ask yourself, what's around the corner? What's up there? It could be something that I'm missing out on. You never know. It's the same thing when you're trying to pick a campsite. When I got the trailer, I find a site and I'm like, okay, this will work. But should I keep driving just down that road a little bit more down the corner? Might be even more epic. Nomad problems, right? Too many options, too much freedom. So that's about it for that topic. I just felt it and I wanted to share it. And the last thing I really want to say about it is it doesn't matter where you stand on issues or what your opinion is, but you have to let people learn through their own processes and be open-minded that people have differences. And that's what I thought, community or society was about, at least, in the areas where I grew up in and where I was living for so long. Rather than name calling and ad hominem attacks, it's man, out here, the people I meet, every once in a while some issues come up or whatever, but it rolls away real quick because there's other things to talk about. There's other things happening out here. I mean, it's a different world out here, right? It's a different lifestyle. The way your heart moves and the way your heart beats out here is completely different than when you're ingrained in society and there's all this emotional distress and pressure just warping your mind. I mean, out here, how warped can your mind get, right? Like, I'm living amongst what's natural. I'm living with the natural flow of things. The weather affects me. The environment out here affects me. But it's supposed to. That's what humans are. We're affected by nature.